Yeah,
where
I heard a guy named Scott Jennings. Well, he's on CNN. I don't mind following him sometimes because he's right, but he's right wing. But sometimes he kind of has a little bit of a balanced answer. Not all the time, but yeah, I guess it was a phrase that I had never heard. Right? It's they call it the 80-20 policies. Policies that 80% of their people or the public can kind of get behind, and then 20% that don't. And that's what a lot of campaigns are based on. You know what I mean? Like 80% of your people, 20% might not, and they blend it a little bit to try to win the electorate and the popular vote. So they're not really going after issues that matter. They're going after issues that they know can get people riled up. Because if you've got an 80-20 rule, that tells you right there, you're only going to go after what's going to get people mad, because it's not about an issue. It's about getting an emotional response.
Yeah, I think, and I talk about this somewhat in the book, which is, all right, how did our politics start to play to cater to this kind of polarization?
Yes.
And one of the big turning points, and a lot has been gradual, a lot has just developed over time, but 1994 and Newt Gingrich's success in that year was ultimately the poster child of, hey, a lot of my people listen to conservative radio. Let's play to this talk radio crowd. Let's not worry about making stuff that's accessible to Democrats because the Democrats aren't really paying attention. I want my crowd more energized. I want them more emotional, donating better, turning out better, and volunteering more. And the reality is that works. And I don't blame him. I'm someone who tends not to vilify the person who finds the exploit. It's an exploitable system, and it's become much more exploitable with the emergence of social media and the fact that our communications paradigm has become even more siloed, has
Yeah.
become even more bubbled off. And now it wins every election. It wins every time is work to that emotional, rile up your base, preach to your choir. That is what works. And trying to move politics away from that requires, I think, either a fundamental mindset change or really fundamental structural changes.
Yeah, it kind of goes to like, when we talk a little bit about polarization and public trust, right? So right now, in terms of World Press Freedom Index, we're ranked 27th out of 180 countries. That's a huge drop compared to 10, 20 years ago. Before I ask the other part of that question, a quick statement that I have is a lot of the public doesn't realize your companies like CNN and all that, they're actually registered entertainment companies. They're not registered news organizations anymore. That being is they can go, well, the pen's blue, but I don't really know if it's blue, pink, purple, white, gray, or pink. Because when you stretch it like that and you're an entertainment company, you don't have to come back and apologize as much unless there's public pressure. Now, to where if you're an official news organization, if you misstate something, blah, 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 you have to issue a redaction, you got to apologize, all those things, right?